Hey everyone, and welcome to yet another Cast of Salt. How are we all doing today?
Fantastic. And yourself?
Fantastic.
I am very mellow right now.
Very mellow?
So I'm going to be
like you're
keeping
about
it
to fall
quite
asleep.
chill. I'm not going to fall asleep. I'm just going to be like super chill as we're going through this. So for those of you listening, with you today, you have to my left, Mr. Carl Roz.
What's up?
To my right, Mr. Ryan Worthington.
Yo.
And your fantastic host, me, Benjamin Loal.
Hold your applause, please.
Ladies.
Just as usual, our usual reminders, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much. Like and subscribe to the channel. Comment, let us know what you think of the content that we're providing. Check out some of our other stuff. Share it around with your friends. The more people that watch, the better it is for us. You also have the option of listening just purely audio on iTunes as well as SoundCloud and any other podcasting means that tickles your fancy.
So yeah, plenty of ways to get involved, get creative, and also join our Discord. Link is in the description below. We are constantly talking about stuff, looking for topics of conversation. So if you have a suggestion, let us know.
And memes.
Ben,
All the
of
memes.
Ben basically just posts memes 24/7. That's what he's there for.
25/8 more like.
Heyo. All right, let's
just let it go.
don't engage him.
Don't make eye contact.
All right. Anything anyone wants to kick us off with? Any
So I think we should start
interesting news that's been
like,
going on in our
in our
riveting lives?
I mean, we would do the recap, but we've basically all just been playing our one game. You know?
So I guess that's kind of where.
Sorry to interrupt you very quickly.
No, fine.
Probably very important, worth calling out. Our good friend Adam got married a week ago.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
That was a thing that happened.
That happened. Right. Yeah.
Well, you
Okay.
already said that in the previous podcast.
Yeah,
but I guess it's
it
worth
hadn't
restating.
happened,
Yeah.
and now it has happened.
Okay, fair.
He's now
Well,
married.
so yeah,
So
that
Adam and
happened.
Leah, congratulations.
Yep.
Wish you all the best, of course, as you would know from now, because we've said it a million times. But once again, wish you all the best.
Yes. So that was last weekend. Hence
Yeah.
why we're casting this week. Anyway, sorry. Carry on.
Right. What was I gonna? Oh, okay. Yeah. So my week, work has been slowing down. So I have sort of just been chilling at work. Not so much long hours as I was been doing.
Nice.
Means I get to spend a little bit more time with friends and family and games, of course. Everyone loves
And
games.
most
Yeah.
importantly, my
games.
games.
Except in your case, that just means that you more TF2, more Fallout.
Team Fortress 2, yes. Fallout, yes. So that's kind of where I've found myself recently, I guess. Just like I started again in Fallout, only because I was like, oh, I'll play Fallout 4 again. Launched it up. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have 30 quests to do. And
Also known
Options paralysis.
Yeah.
Oh god. Alt F4.
Bethesda game syndrome.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly right.
I mean, the big thing I suppose is I did.
Me neither.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. So I
That game released 6 years ago.
what was I gonna say? Yeah, so I did actually add some mods though. Nothing too breaking. In fact, one of them was the unofficial patch, which fixes a lot of bugs. And the other one was the removal of the not creative cloud. What's it called?
Creators Club.
Creators Club. Advertising.
Creative Cloud.
Advertising on the main menu. So
Pay mods.
yep. And the other one was to re-enable achievements, because when you install mods, they disable achievements. So there's a mod to re-enable achievements.
Nice. There's a mod for everything.
Wow. There's a
people.
mod for everything.
Cool.
Mod for everything.
But yeah.
So I mean, like, modding wise, like, I have no problem with it. I just want to finish the game before I get into some of the more zanier mods, I guess, the ones that add like future quest lines and, you know, player houses and naked bodies and weird things like that.
Naked bodies.
Naked
Always
bodies.
the naked bodies.
Yep. Always
Like
naked
it.
bodies.
I like that. That's in your top 3.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely. Well,
That's his
would it
top one.
surprise you
He
to
kind of
know?
just buffered it with
Would
other
it
things
surprise you
kind
to
of
know
like-
that it is one of it? I think it's the highest downloaded mod is the naked bodies.
No.
Mod.
No, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Not in
Does
the
it surprise you that it purely focuses on female?
Again,
Doesn't surprise me at all.
again, no, not in the
so,
slightest.
I mean, that's pretty much me.
I mean, it's like, you know, what's the average age of a gamer these days? You reckon?
Exactly.
Oh no, it's like what, mid-20s?
I think it's 24, 25
Yeah.
at the moment.
No,
gone
okay,
up a
maybe,
little
maybe not
bit.
quite as young as I was
Yeah.
thinking.
Well,
and it's a
anyway.
good mix of male and female as well. So it's like,
Yeah, but yes, but are they
women
are
also
they,
appreciate the female body.
But are they also playing Fallout? Would be my question.
That's
I
the real
don't
question.
see why not.
Yeah.
Uh,
Anyway, some games skew a lot further one way or the
Oh
other
yeah,
than you'd
yeah.
think.
That's very true.
Like I think I remember somebody once saying stats was I think League of Legends skews like 90% male.
Does that
Yeah.
surprise you though?
Absolutely not. But once again,
Yeah, so I guess that's pretty much it. Like I said, I did start playing Team Fortress again, more so to get back in the groove of things because we've got a huge topic that we're going to talk about today, but they're releasing a huge new update, so we'll get to that in a bit. But first, Bin, what has your week's been up to?
Nothing. Yeah, it's been a fairly chill.
you've been playing Overwatch, haven't you?
I have been playing Overwatch. Finally clawed, no, not finally, but I clawed my way back up to gold rank, which has been pretty good. Like it's just been a fairly okay. So the Halloween shindig is happening on Overwatch right now, which is pretty cool. And they have new skins and whatnot that you can get out of the loot boxes.
Out of the loot boxes. Yeah.
But it is the most frustrating thing for me right now because I've probably opened, let's say, 8 loot boxes during the Halloween period, and not one of them has been a Halloween skin. Like I'd get a gold loot, and I'm like, yes, and it's just like
just some regular one.
I'm just like, I mean, normally I'd be so happy about it, but it's Halloween. Give me a Halloween one.
Oh, but Ben, you can just buy some loot boxes. Get
Quiet.
those cosmetics.
Quiet, you.
Okay, no, we'll come back to that later.
Come back to that topic
Okay,
in a
we'll come
bit.
back to that topic later.
But otherwise, okay. There's 2 things that I'm super keen to do though. Is get my hands on Cuphead. I'm gonna buy that.
Yeah,
probably right after this.
You need to play that.
I
I would recommend being a little bit less sleepy when you play it, though.
Oh no, I won't play it straight away. I'm just gonna get it. And then I'm gonna get Shadow of War.
And it's loot boxes.
All the loot boxes.
Yeah, but that's it for me.
Yeah, well, I'm also in a holding pattern. I bought my Switch. I'm playing it a little bit, playing a bit of
gonna buy Switch.
playing a bit of Breath of the Wild.
that's what-
but mostly still playing WoW. Guild's in a holding pattern until the next raid comes out. We're just trying to get as much as we can.
Tier up, skill up.
Yeah,
Get
good,
Get gooder.
which is not going to happen.
Yeah, get good.
We are not good.
The other big news, Carl and I are heading to PAX again this year, which is next
that's
week.
right.
So
Yes.
I'm wearing my PAX t-shirt. It's
Ben-
a bit old now. Might get a new
Ben's also coming.
one. Yes.
I'm sitting this one out.
Yeah.
Just gonna take it easy.
Mm-hmm,
Let you guys have all the
So-
PAX flu.
So if anyone listening's coming to PAX and you see us there, come up, say hi.
Yep.
Give them all a big hug.
We'll be walking around, probably playing games and
Stroke Carl's
checking out
beard.
the indie game section.
I'd really prefer that you didn't. Thanks, Ben. Much appreciated.
For those listening, I just stroked Carl's beard.
we did actually have a PAX 2015, 2016,
16,
sorry.
my friend.
What year is this? 2016 video. So if you wanted to check that out, we're probably going to try and do something very similar this year. What do you reckon, Carl?
Sure.
I know how much. I know how keen you were for the last one.
Sure. You'll have does your phone have a better camera?
Well, my phone's exactly the same.
Okay, so is mine. So we'll steal Ben's phone, which I think has a better
Fantastic.
phone.
Fantastic.
Better
All
camera.
right, shall we get into the swing of things?
We
Yeah.
shall.
So
Okay,
let's talk about TF2.
We alluded to it a little earlier on. I think, okay, I'm going to be honest. This update or this news has made Ryan significantly more happy than I'm pretty sure any female could ever.
Whoa.
This is.
Whoa, my partner
This is-
definitely takes priority over Team Fortress. I'm just going to say, Patricia, you definitely take priority over Team Fortress 2.
Patricia, he'll never love you as much as he loves TF2. Just if you ever need anything from him, just be like, here's TF2. Come on.
Well, that just happened. What are we
I'm
talking?
kidding around, but my point is, it's a big update.
It's huge.
It's massive.
I have some stats here for you
Oh,
guys.
I'm gonna whip out the stats.
So for starters, I think it's probably worth saying that Team Fortress, well, the orange box that Team Fortress was originally a part of, came out 10 years ago. on October the 10th, so just passed, right? So they had a big announcement about that, and mostly, at least on the Team Fortress website, focused on the Team Fortress aspect of that. And so they said, after 10 years, 624 updates, 100 plus maps, 60 billion kills, 20 trillion in damage done, 6 billion items created, 2 billion headshots, and lots of hats.
All the hats.
All the hats.
More hats than kills, probably.
Yeah. So they say celebrate solid decade in gaming, and at this juncture they were saying, you know, there's a big mammoth update coming soon, which has now announced. So
and then
you know what was great?
And then I was like, it's never coming out, Ryan. It's just not happening.
Okay, for anyone that's been on our Discord, it's just been like the last week has been, hey, Ruz, massive updates coming along. Ruz is like, no, that's a lie. Ruz, this massive updates, no, you lie.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna. I thought it was. I'm just trying to think of when this has happened before. I thought it was going to be like a Valve update, you know, like a Half-Life 3 update, eternally
like a soon
coming
TM.
soon.
No. So this is something that has been in the works for a long time. It's the longest we've gone without a major update. So the previous one, Meet Your Match, was the one that introduced the competitive mode, and it flopped like hard.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it launched
2 years, a year and a bit ago.
Yeah, it was June/July last year.
Yeah.
It launched with a lot of bugs. The matchmaking system was slow because they reused the man versus machine matchmaking system.
So why did that make it slow?
Because the man versus machine matchmaking system was arse garbage already, and they just reused it, and so now all matchmaking was arse garbage.
Why was it arse garbage?
It just took.
I'm not being facetious.
Of course.
Yeah.
It took a long time for you to get games. Like, I'm talking 20 minutes plus.
Wow.
You waiting on the screen.
See, I always thought that was just a function of not that many people playing Man vs.
It
Machine.
turns out it was not the case. It also had buggy geo code where it would match you with people that were like 500 ping, 600 ping from around the world, rather than the local people that were playing. So it was just terrible.
So it actually preferred matching you with people from elsewhere?
No,
I
think it just went, get me the list of all people wanting to play Man vs. Machine. Okay, let's grab the top 6 and throw them into a server.
So then why was it slow?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. But anyway, there's they obviously then went through a few patches, and it's a lot better now than what it was before. But anyway, so the point is, they wanted to do this update right. They did not want a repeat of last year's fiasco. So instead of releasing it in June, July, in a sort of not quite finished state, they took the extra time. They said, be patient, please, blah, 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 blah. And it just dropped this week.
So let's go through what's in the update.
Okay. So
do you want to go through it like by day or by area?
I think we'll just go by day.
Okay.
Right. So it is a 4-day announcement that they've been doing. Day 1 was the announcement of the new short.
Yeah, day 1 was the release of the new short and the cosmetic items.
And the
cosmetic
and
the
that
maps.
Short was pretty
cosmetic
nice.
items and maps. So that's what that focused on. Showcased the new maps, had the new short. And
on that topic, for anyone out there that hasn't actually watched the short yet,
or any of the Team Fortress shorts for that matter,
pause the podcast and go watch.
We'll wait.
Go watch the jungle. Was it Jungle Inferno?
It's called Jungle Inferno.
Jungle Inferno update short.
I watched it just before this. And
Okay, so now you're
especially our Australian.
Okay, so now you're back. I don't think I've ever laughed as hard at a TF2 update as when Saxton Hale punched through the wall in the shape of Australia. Holy moly!
that was pretty great. Side note: the fact that they made a Saxton Hale model means we now have an official Saxton Hale model, which never happened before. So a lot of you'll now see a lot of third-party source filmmakers.
Wasn't he? Okay, previously it was always in the comics.
It was comics.
So whenever they did like the contract stuff and they were showing all of that, it was always the comics. And because I remember, this was years ago when I played last.
Gunmetal.
Was it Gunmetal where you're just like getting all the boxes and the and he was in that as well. He was just like
and he punched.
Yeah,
his lock.
His lock is him punching like a a punching
Wall.
measurement.
Yeah, and it's like Newton forces applied 10 million. Welcome, Hale. Yeah, that's the other thing. If you haven't read the Team Fortress comics, they're actually really
Yeah.
hilarious.
All the shorts are great. The comics are great.
Yeah.
It's just a good story.
So that was day one. Was just all the fun stuff. Day two was the announcement of the way contracts and items are going to work, and the announcement of the new items for the Pyro. They kind of just gave an overview, I think.
Yeah, so this is like the new contracts business. That's sort of like the major game system update for this patch, right?
Yes, in the sense that it's new functionality. Yes,
that's sort of what I mean.
So they've previously had contracts. Contracts are just
Previously,
no, they're not dailies. They're weeklies.
yeah.
Okay, they're weekly quests.
Basically. Except this time they're not dropping weekly. You get them all straight up.
Yeah,
and you can pick and choose which ones you want to do right at this moment.
So what if you know life it and grind them all out in a day?
Then you're done.
Then you're done.
for this update.
There's 36 contracts. If you can bust out 36 contracts in a day, then well, my hat off to you, sir.
Wow, that's probably not actually possible. But
yeah. They basically borrowed the idea of the contract tracker from Counter-Strike.
Yes. I mean, I haven't actually played any contracts in CSGO, but I am familiar with the concept of daily/weekly quests. I play WoW.
Yes.
I do enjoy the contracts as I think that was what kept me in TF2 for quite some time was the fact, because after a while I was just like, yeah, I'm still enjoying this.
So there's
not much to it, right?
Those sorts of mechanics like contracts, weekly quests, missions, I think League calls them, that sort of thing. It's like
I don't like the League ones, but sorry.
Yeah, no, they're pretty shit. They are a proven game design
to keep
method
people playing.
to keep player retention.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
To keep engagement.
It's almost like you've got the daily quote unquote drudgery of we've got to cap the objective, we've got to do this map, we've got to do that map, right? And then you've got the overarching, loftier goal of I've got to complete, this particular contract.
It's
right?
it's like a mini achievement scheme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
And honestly, the way that they do it these days is actually a lot better than like the most basic implementations of that sort of thing. Where it's sort of like
Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, where it's just get 15 headshots, get 30 headshots.
Well, no, because those aren't dailies. Those are like those are achievements.
Yep.
They're tied to player advancement, but they're still achievements. You know what I mean?
Yep.
The concept of a daily quest, as in something that you can do over and over again for a reward, like mini things that you can work towards. As far as I know, WoW invented them in its second expansion. And looking back on, and it seemed like kind of a big deal at the time, but looking back on it, that most basic implementation was actually pretty shit. It was very repetitive.
So, but the other thing to note with this particular one is that there's actually two sets of contracts, right? So there's the 36 one, which is the campaign pass, which anyone that's sort of played Team Fortress, you buy a pass, like a $4 pass, I think it is, to participate in that one.
Right? Microtransactions!
Yeah, well,
how dare they?
Team Fortress is like the king of micro. Anyway, the point is, you do that, but there's also the free ones, which is unlocking the new Pyro weapons and the heavy weapon. But the point is, that segues us perfectly into day 3, which is the announcement of all the Pyro changes and Pyro updates.
So hang on a sec. They don't just throw the weapons into the crafting pool like they used to.
You mean so you can craft them with scrap?
They do, but they also give you an alternate way of getting the new weapons.
Yeah, no, look, that's the thing. Any person, free player or otherwise, can unlock the new weapons by completing the Pyro Land contracts.
The Pyro Land contracts
are free. Yes,
that's
but not the ones.
That's fantastic. Because I remember like when I was a regular TF2 player,
they were locked behind achievements.
Well, they weren't just locked. Well, I mean, there was the original set. So like the first set of updates where they did a class update for every class and added achievement weapons. So there was that. But then after that, like every patch, like. They just randomly add some workshop weapons or whatever, and they just go into the random drop and crafting pool.
Yep.
And that was the only way to get them. If you wanted them, pony up the scrap or buy them for 50 or buy them for 50. Is it $1 or 50 cents or $5?
It's like I do think it depends on the weapon and stuff. I think
starts at $5 and goes down.
Yeah,
probably.
pretty much. I think taunts are the most expensive thing you can buy at like $7.
Yeah, but it was like they'd just basically go into the global pool, and if you wanted to play with them, you didn't want to, you didn't have scrap saved up, and you weren't lucky, you didn't really have much of a choice except to buy them or try and trade for them. But they're like one of the big draws of each patch. It's sort of like, new weapons, new strategies unlocked by that. It's sort of like to take a really extreme example. There's an entire playstyle locked behind unlockable weapons for Demo Man, for instance.
Yeah, absolutely. Demo Night.
Yeah.
Demo Nighting is where you replace your sticky bomb launcher with a shield, potentially even your primary with something that helps you run around faster.
Like speed.
Like the Alibaba's wee booties or whatever they're called.
And you try and focus on your melee weapon.
Weapon and your charge bash.
Yeah.
And the similar things for other classes as well. Different tweaks which change how the class plays, but...
Like that glorious period where the Soldier's Liberty launcher was just ludicrously overpowered.
Oh man, I miss the Liberty launcher so much. I don't even play a lot of TF2 players are going to balk at this, but I don't even play Soldier that much. I think I got like 5 hours on Soldier.
You're a spy. You're one of those filthy spy.
Well, I'm a spy medic, NG. I would say is probably my most played class.
He's a spy man.
Definitely a spy man. They're also changing the ambassador. We'll come back to that.
Yeah, we're sort of getting off topic. My point there was I love that they're providing an easy path for players that want to get re-engaged with the game to access the new weapons.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that's fantastic.
It's great. The other thing I was going to mention this at the start, but I want to mention this now. Right, this is the biggest update since the Uber update, which launched in 11 or 10, something like that. So, that's 7 years of, okay updates, including Gunmetal, which was a huge one. But this update's huge, right?
Yep.
It's just huge.
Huge.
So that we can't cover everything.
Huge!
But I did actually get a list of the Pyro weapons while I was taking screenshots earlier. So there's a new weapon called the Dragon's Fury. It's a primary weapon. Replaces your flamethrower. It launches a fast-moving, limited-range projectile. So it's like a long-range flamethrower that deals 25 damage and briefly ignites them. And also deals 300% damage to burning players.
Yep.
So how quickly does it fire? Do we know yet?
I don't know. I haven't seen it in action because I haven't played it yet. But I think it came out today.
Did I hear correctly that if with each consecutive hit, though, it increases its rate of fire? Or something along those lines? I could be mistaken.
Right. So
I heard something along those lines.
Uses a shared pressure tank for primary fire and alt fire. Plus 50 repressurization rate on hit, so it gets faster if you hit people.
Yeah, so
basically.
And
it gets
accuracy.
slower if you alt fire, if you air blast.
Yeah.
The other one was the thermal thruster. It is a secondary slot, and this is what people have been calling the jetpack.
Because it's a jetpack.
Because it's a jetpack, right? So the primary uses of it seems, are the blast forward and blast up and blast back.
So it's like a short burst.
Can you use it to crash tackle people?
You can use it to land on people, and that deals a lot of damage. Three times the falling damage.
Ooh.
Yeah. So if you land on someone, you're doing 60 to 80. Something like that, as opposed to 20, and you're dealing it to them rather than you.
Yeah.
Splat.
The other one, this is actually cool because this is an idea that I sort of shared around on Reddit a little bit. It did not quite the same, but the idea of a gas canister.
Hey everyone, Ryan's saying that he invented this weapon. Sorry,
I
had to do. You walked straight into that one.
Yeah, look, I'm just excited because it's very close to what I had suggested, right?
Because it's something you've thought about before.
Yeah,
and you think it's cool.
It's a gas canister, and it deploys a gas cloud, and any bullets will ignite that gas cloud and
any bullets at all.
Any bullets, not just flames. Any bullets ignites 10 seconds of afterburns if enemies take damage.
Bullets.
Throw that into a firefight.
Bullets specifically.
Bullets.
So
it says flammable material if enemies take damage, including pyros, and pyros can get afterburn if they're in it as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think. Bullets. So do huntsman arrows count?
If enemies take damage.
So
I don't know.
Anything that causes
I
damage.
guess at the moment, yes. I guess so. And the last weapon that they added, they obviously tweaked all the flamethrowers and stuff as well. But the last weapon they added was called the slap attack, and it's basically just the pyro's hand, and you can slap people. And it does. Boost? You get a speed boost, and like the holy mackerel, the fish, every slap is recorded in the
Announced.
kill feed.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a meme here that I'm not getting.
Glove slap.
Okay.
yeah,
Was
so-
there further?
That's it for the new
That's-
weapons,
yeah.
which is pretty cool. Oh, the only other new weapon was a consolation prize to the heavy. It is a banana that it's a kind of like a sandwich. The sandwich being the weapon that he could eat to get health. The banana heals less health, so it heals 200 instead of 300, and it recharges faster. So it's ready quicker.
I think that's probably going to be better than the sandwich.
Potentially, yes. However, I think it only drops a small health pack on if you drop it to a friend,
Right.
or an enemy for that matter.
So it's going to be more useful personally, but less useful team-wise.
I think so, yes.
Okay.
So
makes sense.
I think it's interesting. I think because sandwich has basically become the default heavy secondary. There's not the stock is a shotgun, right?
Yeah.
But I
As
mean,
soon
if
as
you've
you-
got
as
it,
soon
as
as
soon
you
as you get a
unlock it.
sandwich, you equip the sandwich, right? So
Okay. I have a very quick, potentially a quick question. Earlier on, you mentioned that contracts and the such were a way to keep people engaged, Carl. Do you think, and both of you guys, this is both to both of you, do you think with TF2, they did such a big update and they held off on it for so long because they felt that they needed something to keep people engaged? Could it have been a response to people are seeming to dwindle, or is it just no, this is our 10-year thing, we want to do something special and big?
I think okay. So two things: if it was the 10-year thing, they would have released it on the 10-year anniversary
10 days
rather
ago.
than 10 days later.
Yep.
Right. I also think, like, I've been following the Team Fortress community for a while now. Everyone was really upset with how Meet Your Match went. Like, it was a big thing. A lot of Team Fortress YouTubers, quote unquote, quit the game, and then they came back. But the point is, they quit for a little while.
They went to play Overwatch and then got sick of it.
Pretty much. There's a lot of people that don't want to just be Team Fortress. They want to be like any gameplay, which is fine. Like, I completely respect that. We also do games, so. I guess my point is, a lot of people.
That is the thing that we do.
We do games. We do games and get into fights.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say it. Didn't want to say it, but you just.
I did it. I did it.
You did it.
You went there.
You done did it.
But yeah, the point is, there was a lot of discontent, I guess, in the community, and I think they just wanted to get it right.
Yeah.
They did not want a repeat and to disappoint everyone again. And because the thing is, for the longest time, they were very silent about what they were doing, right? They never really communicated. You'd get a blog post that was basically just like, here's the list of things we changed this week.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, about January, we started to see a lot more communication, right? So we didn't know how many people were working on Team Fortress. We now know, from a developer perspective, it's about 10. And that there's also obviously grows when you include like voice acting and art design,
just
everything, right? We now have they had an AMA with Gabe Newell and like Dave Rilla from the Team Fortress team, and like a bunch of other people from like the CS:GO team and stuff. And those people have become more vocal. Dave especially. There's a couple more people from the Team Fortress team. They've been posting more updates, more blogs, responding to people on Reddit. Generally, they seem to be want to be more engaged. And so that's why I think they've kind of gone, well, we really fucked up that last one.
Yeah.
Let's get this right. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I mean, like, if there's any company that's ever going to just delay something until they're actually happy with it, it's Valve. I mean,
that makes sense.
If they like cared about, no, I'm not saying that they don't care about players, but if it's sort of like, if they let the way that players felt about the rate at which they release software affect them at all, we would have seen Half-Life 3 by now.
Yep. I also think they released last year, I think they released Meet Your Match in response to Overwatch.
Yeah.
Right? So I think they knew it wasn't ready.
Yeah.
They knew they were going to have problems, but they went, Overwatch has been out for a month, we're losing our player base.
So somebody made the call to release the update and it didn't work out. So the overlong wait for this one might actually be a reaction to how poorly that one went.
Personally, I think it's a good thing that they work at their own pace. They're like, we're gonna get this right. Like, yes, you might be upset that we haven't put anything out in X number of months or whatever the case is, but we personally just want this to be right before we go here.
Yep.
Team Fortress 2 has the advantage that it's primarily a PvP game, which means that the players provide most of the content. I mean, it does have some like cooperative content, like man versus machine, but most of it is players join a server and they start shooting each other.
Yeah,
Or
they don't shoot each other and they hand each other sandwiches.
Yeah. Well, the point is that. Oh God.
Let's not get into the friendly heavy discussion.
Yeah.
That's a very contentious topic.
The point is that the players themselves provide the content. You're not reliant on the developer. In Team Fortress 2 at least, you're not reliant on the developer to be providing like a stream of content like you might in other games, like MMOs, for example.
Yeah.
I think it's also worth noting, right? So, I mean, you look at WoW, right?
Yeah.
Blizzard, right?
Yeah.
They basically control everything about that game. There's no
Yeah.
mods, there's no nothing, right?
I mean, no, there are mods,
There are mods,
but they're only user interface mods.
right.
They don't actually.
They don't impact the game.
Correct.
There with Team Fortress, the thing I love about Team Fortress is that there's so much to do that isn't directly just playing the game, right? Like if you wanted to get into 3D modeling, right, go right ahead, make some models, make some hats, make some weapons, whatever, you know, the community items, and you can upload them and all that fun stuff. Source Filmmaker, right? All the models are available free to use. You can make little shorts. In fact, there's a competition every year called the CAESURA.
Most people just use it to make memes.
Yeah, most people use it to
That's
make
fine.
memes. But I mean, like, hey, that's people engaging with the content, right? You have the entire trading community, right, which is a whole nother ball of wax entirely.
I've literally never heard anyone say another ball of wax. I'm sorry, that was an
Well,
odd saying.
now
but-
you have.
Now you have.
It's a new thing I just learned. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, right. Anyway, the point is, like, I look at games like WoW, right, for example, or even like Overwatch, right, where it's like, well, there's not much I can do other than play the game,
Yeah.
right? I can't get involved in the Overwatch trading community because there isn't one, right?
Yes.
Yet that we know.
No, there isn't. No,
There isn't
and
one.
and there won't
And I don't
ever be.
imagine there
There
will
won't
be.
ever be one because players' cosmetic items are unique to them, and the only way that you can get them is through loot boxes, which we are going to talk about. Just give us a minute.
I think we should at least talk about day 4 of Team Fortress Jungle Inferno update, because we've talked about day 1 to 3.
Yep.
Day 4 was the entirely huge patch notes.
Yeah, day 4 was the patch notes, and I was surprised. I was real surprised because I thought it was just going to be because they foreshadowed it on day 3 whenever they released the pyro weapons.
The 3.
They foreshadowed it by saying we have changed the way that the burning mechanic works, and
So again, that is in response to community feedback.
yes,
Right. So there's a video. If I find it and if I remember, I'll try and link it in the description. But there's a video that shows that such thing as a lag pyro exists. Right. You join a game with where you have really high ping, and you can manipulate your flames to go further.
Right.
Right. And people have done a video where they show this, where they get a pyro to move back and forth, and they can flame someone that from further away, and then they do it where they have less lag and they can't.
Okay.
Right. So there's like a lot of bugs with the with how the pyro worked in general. There was a huge community movement centered around something called From Pyro with Love, and they set up a website and like listed all their concerns about gripes about the pyro itself, and they've really taken that on board.
Okay.
They've basically completely reworked the pyro, obviously the new weapons, but
just in general.
just in general, the mechanics.
So they foreshadowed that on the day 3 update when they said, in addition to the new weapons, we're changing how the flamethrower mechanics work. We're changing how the burning mechanic works.
The afterburn mechanic.
We're rebalancing all the weapons around that.
The air blast.
That we're
entirely.
changing the hitboxes. Blah 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 blah. We're changing how it interacts with momentum. Blah blah blah. And so I was expecting like a big pyro section, but not really much else. Well, I was wrong. I was super wrong. They are rebalancing
everything.
No, not everything.
Not quite everything, but
but a much larger proportion of weapons than I was expecting.
Yeah, so a lot of things got a lot of changes, right? So, I mean, the list is huge, right? So we can't go through everything, but some of the standout ones for me is the Medic's Vitasaur. So that's been completely revamped. I think previously it allowed you to keep like 15% or some percentage of your Uber charge when you died.
Mm.
Now, if successful hits collect quote unquote organs, and then based on the amount of organs you have, if you die, you will retain up to 60% of your Uber charge.
So it can be better,
Pretty cool.
but you actually have to put in effort.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it makes it
But it still has the base 15%, regardless.
No.
like 0%. One hits 15%.
Right. Okay.
30, 45,
Yep,
60,
yep.
I
right?
still don't understand why you would use any melee weapon other than the Uber saw.
Well, that's kind of why they're trying to rebalance this, right? Because
not the Vita saw, the Uber saw.
I know that's why they're trying to rebalance other ones to make them
To
more
make them more viable.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. The other big one for me, well, I mean, as a spy main, they changed how the dead ringer works again. I mean, who's surprised, right? Because they always change it every freaking update.
Do they? I'm sorry. I'm not.
They wanted to make it more predictable, so you can no longer recharge your cloak from ammo drops or dispensers.
That seems very heavy-handed.
It's very heavy-handed.
That's
I'm not sure how
that's the
gonna
kind
go.
of nerf that you see where the developers are just like, we would prefer it if you just didn't use this weapon / character / class anymore.
So I mean, it's still got the speed boost when you die. It's still got the cloak time. I think it'll live, but it does make like the cloak and dagger and the invis watch a little bit more usable.
And you make that face. Do you remember in League of Legends before Poppy was reworked?
Reworked, yeah.
They literally came out and said she's deliberately undertuned because we don't want people playing her.
I always felt like I just didn't like Poppy and I don't know, Poppy just seemed different to the rest of the characters. If you know what I mean.
She fell behind. She was part of a. Sorry to change. Sorry to get
No,
derailed for a second.
absolutely.
She was a design that basically fell out of step with the way the rest of the game was played.
Yeah, and even the visuals looked out of whack.
Exactly.
Everything about Poppy was just like different. But yeah, that's
and then they changed her and she was wonderful, and I got a bunch of freelo, and then they've nerfed her.
Yeah.
One very quick point that I was going to mention when you were talking about the contracts again was I heard that you can co-op on contracts now as
Yes,
well,
sorry, I completely forgot about that.
Like,
So
I was like, oh, that's
you
cool.
can invite friends to help you out on contracts, and you can therefore help them on their contracts as well.
Yeah, that's pretty neat.
That was
this is
pretty cool.
sweet.
That and that actually one of the big changes which we didn't really get a chance to go through, but the changes to the party system and how the matchmaking works have all been done. So
So there is one more thing that I want to go over before we go into our second topic of the day, and that is you are obviously now very much re-engaged with this game.
oh yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you never really got unengaged, but it's sort of like
it's been a thing that I've been on and
disengaged.
off for about a year now,
Yeah,
because basically since the meet match.
Now I wouldn't be surprised to see you on there regularly until you finished all the contracts, right? Right.
Ryan,
pretty
where
much.
have you been?
Team Fortress.
So what do we think about developers making?
I don't like them.
Yeah, those scummy
dare you.
coders that code and do the things that
The worst.
What do we think about game developers? Specifically, developers and publishers that have games that are long running, what's the word for it? Lifestyle games. That sounds really weird, but it's sort of like games that want you to
continually play.
games
play
that
for
you
like
don't have
WoW
a reason to
or
stop.
Team
Games
Fortress.
that you can just play forever, effectively. Yeah.
What do you think of developers of these games making wide-ranging mechanical game system changes in order to try and keep re-engagement?
As we've seen.
Yes, as we've seen in this, and
as we've seen in League of Legends, as we've seen in StarCraft,
Pretty
and
much
everything.
any long-running game.
Yeah. So has it helped? So in your experiences, have they helped keep you engaged, or have they made it harder for you to stay engaged with the game because it changes too much?
I just simply put, I like it.
Yeah.
I enjoy the fact that they're introducing new and fresh things.
For me, change is like pretty much like it's a breath of fresh air, right? So you've played the game for so long, it's a new twist on an old classic, all those sort of little changes, like incremental changes, which completely Ben as a good example, right? He used to play Team Fortress when it just came out, right? When Team Fortress just came out, as an engineer, you could not pick up your buildings. You could not. You had to destroy everything to rebuild it. There was Obviously, only stock weapons. It was a very different game from today.
Could engineers help other engineers build their buildings?
I don't think they could. There was differences to the medic as well. I don't think the medic could Uber. Is that right?
No, I think medic's always
Uber.
been able to Uber. I think it just might not have been as strong.
Yeah. Anyway,
and
and
there were no alternate weapons back then.
It's
like
true.
what
It has changed significantly.
It's like what you had was what you had.
Yeah.
So it's like no sandwich,
and
no Uber saw, no mini sentry, no force of nature or
Mini
base
Sentry,
or
I like.
Sandman.
or Liberty Launcher
Yeah.
or Rocket Jumper or
Or no
Demo Knight.
no demo night, no flare gun.
we
Like
get it.
Yeah.
There
No,
was
I'm just saying
no
because like each of those things.
No
that
secondaries.
yeah, I know. No.
I'm kidding.
I'm just saying 10 years and 624 updates, the game's changed.
And additionally, each of those weapons that we mentioned
They bring
dramatically
a different
change how the
play
classes are
style.
playing.
A
They're
very-
not just alternate weapons.
Very different play
Yeah.
style. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And
And,
I-
I thoroughly enjoy that. As
Yeah.
in, it
Yeah.
keeps things fresh.
In
It
fact,
keeps things
that's
new.
actually a point I found when we played it in office, actually, because we had a few new players. Obviously, like we were just playing man versus machine or something, right? And one of our coworkers unlocked a new weapon. It was a shield for the demo man, right? And we're playing man versus machine. Demo Knight is pretty useless, right? But he doesn't know that, obviously. So he equips it thinking it's an upgrade, right? But every weapon is not necessarily an upgrade. I
Yeah.
mean, there's some cases like the Sandwich where it makes sense to run it over the shotgun, but doesn't mean you can't run
I thought
the shotgun.
I thought the original idea was that no weapon should be like a clear upgrade.
Yeah, well, that's the
you know?
idea. No
I mean,
weapon should be a clear
they have broken that ideal a few times.
Yep.
Like
But-
the
Sandwich.
no, well,
The
no,
gloves, so you're
no,
saying-
actually, because not having a secondary weapon could sometimes make the difference.
Yeah.
In most situations, a sandwich is
better.
strategically better, but you can't say that 100% of the time. There have been, however, a few like strict upgrades, like the amputator, for instance.
The amputator or the Ubersaw?
No, the amputator.
Oh yeah.
Well, because it's just a regular bone saw, except that you can taunt to heal.
Oh yeah, that yeah.
The Ubersaw, I mean, I think it's superior, but it does do less melee damage because it swings slower.
Yes, and they've also nerfed the amount of Uber you get from it. So, you know, it used to be 25. You used to have to swing 4 times and have full Uber.
It was great.
There used to be this. Sorry.
Anyway, we talked about TF2 for ages. Let's talk about something else.
One more thing. I just have to mention this, right? So there was this strategy where you'd get 2 medics and you'd heal each other, and the one that's getting healed would hit with the Ubersaw 4 times. Then they would Uber charge their friend while they hit 4 times, and then you'd kiss
So
the Uber chain.
Uber charge
Conclusion,
each other.
conclusion, we like it when long running games change
I
things-
think
change
it
things
needs
up.
it. It's not just like I like it. I think it needs it. If any of these long-running games were to just keep things the same, if Overwatch didn't do its summer games and Halloweens and just the random.
But
things
that's
that
the
it
thing,
does,
like, with
But
Overwatch,
what is
I
it
would
that
lose it.
what is it that draws you to Overwatch because of those events? Is it just that they drop different loot boxes?
they drop different loot boxes. They change the gameplay a little bit. Like
they
yeah,
do actually change
yeah,
the game.
absolutely.
Sorry.
There's different play styles.
I've lost contact with Overwatch.
There's
for a
different
while,
play styles. Like you've got Junkenstein's Revenge at the moment. You've got Lucio Ball from the summer games. There's just different things that
If
it
I want to play
introduces.
Lucio Ball, I just play Rocket League.
It's it's a dumbed down version of Rocket League.
I know.
So the point there is that it keeps things interesting. Like I fell out of TF2 because for a while there wasn't any
new
big
stuff coming
changes
through.
that kept me going. I fell out of League of Legends because for a while there hasn't really been any big changes up on even now, like some new maps and game modes and whatnot. But there really isn't
you're
anything.
about
I mean, I guess it comes
without
down to
going
that.
into it too much, because I really want to get to the second topic, because I'm eager to get angry.
And we have been going for quite some time. Yeah.
They are about the upcoming update to League of Legends looks like it is going to be a major shake-up.
Hopefully. But yeah, like I don't know.
Are they going to fix the launcher? Sorry,
They did.
that's good.
They did. I mean, it's still a separate launcher, which is kind of lame, but it's less of a pile than it used to be.
Good.
Cool. So, shall we move on to the next
Yeah.
point?
So let's talk about Overwatch some more.
Loot boxes.
Yeah, we want to talk about loot boxes because I mean we're a little bit late on this because I think a lot of the blowback that's happened over the last couple of weeks in the wider internet community has kind of already happened, but I still think it's worth addressing because we have opinions about it. I have some rather strong opinions about
opinions.
it.
A pinch of salt.
But first, I want to hear...
Opinions, yeah, sure.
We have opinions and get into fights.
But first, I want to hear from somebody who just said to me that the seasonal events are one of the things that really draw you to Overwatch. And part of that is the seasonal
The
loot
different
boxes.
loot
Now,
boxes,
tell
yes.
me the story that you were telling me just before the podcast about.
How frustrating that it can
Actually,
be.
was it on the podcast?
No, I think it was.
It was prior.
Okay.
Oh, and if it was, I'm just going to repeat it real quick.
Okay.
So with the current Halloween special that's happening, they introduce new skins effectively, and as the way you get new skins is through loot boxes. And so you get loot boxes by leveling up, by completing arcades,
Or by
stuff,
purchasing them.
I've never bought a single loot box, and I don't intend to. But the cause of frustration for me has been the fact that I've probably gotten, let's say, about 8 loot boxes within this Halloween period.
Mm-hmm.
And in my hopes of getting a Halloween loot box, I've been eagerly waiting a golden loot. And I've probably gotten 2 or 3 purple to golden ones, and each time it's just been a regular skin rather than a Halloween specific one. Normally I'd be over the moon about getting these regular skins, but right now it's just like,
so just to clarify,
why do I have a Halloween loot box that's giving me regular crap?
just to clarify for people who don't play Blizzard games, they've sort of standardized this color coding
so you get,
across all their pop
Gray,
properties.
blue, purple, gold in that order of rareness, effectively.
I mean, but that's been pretty standard for a lot of games.
just in
I mean,
general.
you look at stuff like Borderlands, and you look at
You color coordinate how rare things are. Yeah. But yeah, so it has been quite frustrating, and I get why people buy, because it just makes things easier.
I don't like loot boxes. So this is why I was saying I wanted to get mad. I don't like them as a concept. I
Not at all.
Didn't like them in TF2, who I think were the first game. But they were the TF2 one. The modern trend is a little bit different. Let me explain why I feel that is. So TF2, I first introduced the concept of crates.
Yep.
Yes.
They would drop for you randomly, and in order to get what's inside, you needed to buy a key from the Valve store for $2.50, and that would let you uncrate something.
Can't you uncrate things on their own sometimes?
Some items, some like the quote unquote crates, like some like gift boxes and stuff.
Yeah.
You can, like, I think they give out one for like Christmas and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You can just open.
Yeah.
If you spend over $10 in store, you get a gift as well.
Yeah.
It's just
It's okay.
So it got kind of, people weren't particularly thrilled about it when it first came out, but it was pretty, like, TF2 at the time was pretty generous with its drops overall, so people...
Well, the thing was because originally it was like crates of weapons and cosmetics, right?
Yeah.
So it was like you could get a weapon that you might have already had, or a weapon that you might not have, or you could get a cosmetic from the same box.
Yeah.
So weapons, and again, weapons weren't upgrades. Weapons, quote unquote, weren't upgrades. They were side grades.
Yeah, but also they were not the only way to get weapons.
No, you could also just buy them outright.
Yeah, originally you could craft weapons by trading in your duplicates. When it went full free to pay and full microtransactions, you could then just buy them, just straight up buy them from the store.
Yep.
And they were cheap.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good, actually. You know, it's like in lieu of paying the 25 or how much it was to buy TF2 on its own, you could go to the store and buy 20 weapons.
Yeah.
And that would give you plenty of variety in your play styles. And you would probably earn more as you tried out all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the other thing to note as well was that buying weapons or crafting weapons would come in what's called the unique variety, which is basically a misnomer because they're not unique. But if you uncrated them, there was a chance you could get them in strange varieties, which were basically kill counters.
Yeah.
And that's still a thing, right? You can still uncrate the weapon series crates and get strangers.
Yep.
And the spinny things, what are they called? Unusuals.
Right, yes.
Unusuals, which are basically fancy hats.
Yes. All right, so that's Team Fortress 2. So
but what you're saying is, in general, regardless of Team Fortress 2, regardless of games of the game, you simply dislike the crate system.
I don't know. Look, I just think it's... Let's move on. Let's talk about Overwatch. So Overwatch launches 2016.
Yep.
In Australia, it's a $80 game. So you've paid $80 to get access.
80. Yep.
For the standard edition.
And if you're an idiot like me, you've paid $90 for the Origins edition.
I think I got my Origins for $70.
Really?
Where were you shopping, man?
Anyway,
Anyway,
yeah, doesn't matter.
The point is, you paid a little extra
You pay
to
money.
get a few skins that
Yeah.
no one cares about.
Yeah.
And then it's
Lit-
sort of
none
like
of
so
them
then
are
if you
good.
want to up so then if you want so then the game comes with a bunch of inbuilt skins, you know, like most FPSs do these days. And if you want to get them, how do you get them? Loot boxes.
Yes.
It's like you get them, you get the cosmetic options randomly with loot boxes.
Yep.
You crunch your duplicates and sometimes get currency that you can use to directly unlock things. But the only way that you can get
rarely
them,
get duplicates anymore.
yeah, I know. But,
I think they've cut out. Anyway,
but my point is, it's like
yeah,
the only way to make any progress through this system is through loot boxes. When do you get loot boxes? You get one per level up, which starts off very regularly but slows down
Considerably.
it's like 20,000 experience, and
Yeah, it sucks. Or you can go to the store and purchase them for $9.90. I don't actually know the price. I don't actually know
you
the
purchase
price.
them.
Some fee.
Yeah.
So that's annoying. So now, what in a game like Call of Duty was locked behind an achievement. So I mean,
Or
like
a gameplay thing, where it's
or a gameplay locked behind an achievement, or like some amount of gameplay progression.
Yep.
It's like it might be restricted, but you know what you have to do to get that.
And the other thing about that was, like, in Call of Duty, it's like, this guy has an autumn camouflage. He's probably a good player because that means he's gotten 1,000 headshots with that weapon.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. So that's the thing. So already we're sort of crossing a line here. We're in the realm where you've paid not like a reduced rate for a game. You've paid a full price for a game.
Yep.
And it also comes with microtransactions.
And it also wants more of your money.
Okay. So that's your frustration?
Well, that's one of my frustrations.
Right. To counter that, the reason that it doesn't bother me in the slightest is because you don't have to buy those crates. You don't. The crates themselves add nothing to the actual gameplay.
I
you
agree.
can play the
I
entire
How,
game.
like, I guess this comes down to the point I guess Jim Sterling was making, which is like how in your face they are. Maybe not Overwatch, but a lot of other games. It's very much in your face all the time that, hey, you should purchase some loot boxes. If only you just won this skin, don't miss out now. And the fact that it's basically a gambling economy, right?
Yeah.
So
it's absolutely a gambling economy. But again, back to my point of it really doesn't get in the way of the game. For me personally.
In the gameplay, no.
In the gameplay, outside of the gameplay, just in general. Like, they'll say, hey, here are these cool skins. Like, if you are interested in them, there are options that you could potentially unlock.
But the thing to remember as well is, like, that's, like, from your perspective, right? You're not one to sort of get suckered in. Like, I mean, there are people out there, like, you know, good, honest, decent people.
Yeah.
But it's like a real draw.
It's a drug to them. It's like, holy shit, that skin looks amazing. I need it. So I'm going to spend as much as it costs until I get this skin.
Exactly.
I get that.
Or until I get enough currency to get the skin.
I get that that's the case for some people. But where I'm coming from is, in my perspective, and hopefully in a lot of other people's perspective, is the fact that this is a system that Blizzard and pretty much everyone has now been introducing into their games.
Yeah.
But
See,
it
okay.
also does.
Let him finish.
So you have the part of your gripe is that you're still paying full price for the game, and they still have this microtransaction aspect of it. But the reason I don't care that you're paying full price is you're paying for the gameplay. You're paying for we're on this payload mission. We have to get this point A to point B, and other teams trying to stop us. And that's what I've paid for. The skins and everything else, that's extra. If
Is
I
it?
want,
Is
it is. From my
Is it?
perspective, yeah.
Originally, it wasn't.
Yeah,
That's our point.
Yeah.
Why wasn't it? Like, because
Because okay,
are you
and
saying
I
Are
quote.
you saying Overwatch specifically, or
No,
just in general?
just
I'm
in
saying in
general.
general.
Yeah.
And I quote, they said the reason why cheats and skins were never charged before was because they didn't have a means to do it.
Yeah. So and that's fine, right? But just again repeating my point.
So I don't.
It is easy enough to segregate those.
Yeah.
two
See,
things.
I don't want
Would
to
you
I don't want to
pay-
come down too hard on Overwatch, specifically Overwatch.
But we are.
It's like I don't like the concept, but in terms of given the concept exists, Overwatch's implementation
It's pretty light
Whilst
on.
I find it distasteful, it's pretty light on. It's
Yeah.
pretty acceptable.
Yeah.
You know,
And there are others that do it better, there are
where
others
they
that do
where
it
they
worse.
stumble, I find, is when they introduce things like the Halloween update.
Yep.
The time limited things, because that's pressuring you into thinking, oh no, if I don't get this
Yeah.
skin now, I'm never gonna get
It'll be
it.
another
The thing
year.
is-
It will be another year before I have another
If-
chance to get it.
I mean,
yes.
again, I'm comparing this back to Team Fortress. I know we've spent like 50 minutes on Team Fortress, but in Team Fortress, right, they had Halloween, they had Christmas updates,
Yeah.
right? And every time there'd be new maps and there'd be new items and new
Yeah.
Halloween-specific items, right? And every year there'd be new ones, and you couldn't get the previous ones.
Yep.
Until recently, they've re-released them. They've said, "Hey, you know what? Who cares? You can
do
unlock
whatever.
you can unlock Halloween
Yeah.
items. You can unlock previous ones. Hey, you miss out on that cool weapon or the cool hat that you wanted. Don't worry, you can
Yeah.
unlock it in this one."
That kind of ties.
So,
sorry.
I was just going to say, so that's where I think Overwatch will be in 5 years.
Yeah.
Right? They're going to say, "Hey, you missed out on the 2016 Halloween update. Don't worry, fam. We got you.
They
can unlock
actually
them."
already do that in
Oh,
the
good.
sense that you get coins in game,
Mhm.
like from loot boxes, or by getting duplicates,
Or by
and-
paying for them.
or no,
Okay.
you don't pay for coins directly. And after a while, they've been going, okay, you can now just buy these skins.
That's good. So, like, I think the big one was the Rio Olympics, was it?
Yeah,
Can you now
the
buy
last
the
one.
Rio Olympics?
It takes a little bit of time. The Rio Olympics, yes, or some of them, and I think the Blizzard kind of just do it weird. They just like, yeah, this one
They
you can buy
basically-
now.
they basically
Okay,
just do
now
what
this
they
one you
want.
can- yeah, they just kind of do it all over the place. But they do release them over time in like to say, okay, it's no longer specific to this loot box. You can buy it at this point in time.
The other reason that I find now this isn't just necessarily unique to loot boxes. I find the concept
The
of
microtransactions.
I find the concept of holding part of the game's content back for microtransactions distasteful because I think it corrupts game design.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't think if you let somebody that's passionate about making their game as good as they want to, I don't think they're likely to unless they've got somebody telling them you need to design in an additional revenue stream into this
absolutely.
game.
And
They're probably not going to think about it.
Yeah.
you know?
I think we should segue towards Shadow of War, right?
Yeah, well,
because this is the big one.
Yeah, I'm getting to that. So let's talk about Shadow of War for a minute.
Very quickly, just to kind of tie back into the points that we have covered in saying different people have done it differently.
Yes.
And I think the best way that I've seen it, and then again, I actually do agree with you in the sense of I actually don't like loot boxes and these microtransactions. I was like arguing with you to say it's not bad or it's not, but I personally don't actually enjoy it or like it in any way. But different people do handle it differently.
I know.
Some do it quite well. The best way that I've seen it is where all the options are available to you. You can unlock things randomly. You still have the loot boxes. You can pay as well. So I think in going back to Overwatch, where the problem for me is everything is via the loot box. You can't unlock individual things randomly. You get a loot box every once in a while, or you pay for loot boxes. But the other point is, if you really, really, really want something and you're willing to pay $2 for it, why not let people just do that?
Exactly.
Like, just give them that option.
I mean, that's still
don't buy a loot box.
That kind of comes back to
that's
why
still
it's
microtransactions in a $60 game.
Absolutely. But
at the end of the day,
give the people the option to do that.
At the end of the day, that's why I guess I have distaste for how Overwatch done it, even though it's one of the more, I guess, respectable versions of it, right? That it's purely gamble based.
Yeah.
Right? It's purely loot boxes. You have to use loot boxes to get stuff.
Yeah.
So we keep saying that Overwatch is one of the more reasonable, but we haven't actually said why yet. Now, the reason that it is one of the more reasonable is that it is only cosmetic.
Yeah.
Okay? You can't buy your way
into winning the game.
Into winning the game. Okay?
Yes.
Bringing us to Shadow of War.
Bringing us to Shadow of War and Forza 7 and
NBA 2K18.
No, that's not actually loot boxes. That's just microtransactions. But
but no, that's gated content that was in NBA 2K17.
Bring us to Shadow of War, Forza 7, and Battlefront 2, who have all jumped on the loot box train, as you'd know if you're keeping up on gaming news.
Origins.
Oh, it's loot boxes as well.
I'm
isn't
pretty
it?
sure.
Yeah.
Jeez, they're multiplying. So.
Why do you think Jim's been so angry?
He's angry all the
He's
time
an angry
anyway.
man.
He likes being angry. It's true.
Anyway, sorry. Get to where you were going.
Shadow of War, ostensibly a single player game.
All of those games that I've just mentioned, except for I don't know anything about Assassin's Creed, but it's probably the same knowing the developer. They've taken the concept and run with it. They have put player power upgrades in their multiplayer games. Multiplayer games. Into the loot boxes.
Yes, we know. So
yeah, I know we know, but I want to reiterate how dumb that is.
yeah, so
that is pollution of game design there.
that is pay to win.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Well,
you get a perk.
No, it's not even pay to win. It's pay to gamble to win. You could buy Battlefront 2 for $100 and then spend $200 on loot boxes, and there is not a guarantee that you're going to get what you want.
Better weapons, yeah.
No, well,
but you
not
might.
the weapons, the perks, right?
Oh, yeah.
The I'm taking less damage, the I'm dealing more damage. Those perks are locked into Battlefront. I always get those confused.
Yeah, the entire progression system.
One is Star Wars, one is just war.
It's in the title bin. Star Wars. Star
Wars Battlefield. Gotcha.
I think
Star Wars Battlefield 2K18 Origins.
I think Roz needs a hug.
I'm good. No. Real talk. I don't. That's why I've come down so hard on loot boxes, because it's sort of like
you give them an inch, they take every mile.
Where it crossed the line for me is where it started obviously corrupting the design of the games into which they're being inserted.
Yeah.
The one that really got me was where previous iterations of the game are now gated behind microtransactions and paywalls, right? So you're paying, like, let's just say you paid $70 for NBA 2K17 and it came with, a bunch of different features. You pay $70 for NBA 2K18, ostensibly the same game, some roster updates, some new graphics maybe. All the features that were in NBA 2K17, got to pay for.
Yeah, it sucks, doesn't it? If Adam was here, we could probably set him off on a rant about the color customization options that are now microtransactions in Destiny 2, which were permanent unlocks in Destiny.
Yep.
Has he actually said something about that to you?
No, not in any particular, in any depth, but I get exactly why he would be pissed off about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be the same if, well, like, I don't know. It just makes me sad, right? Because like these would be great games. They probably are great games.
I'm trying to think of a concrete example from something I've played, but it's not. I'm probably not.
Shadow of War for me was the big one, right? I mean, like I haven't played Shadow of War, but from what I've seen,
have you played Shadow of Mordor?
Is it Shadow of War or Shadow of Mordor?
The first one is Shadow of Mordor.
Okay,
Second
right.
one is Shadow of War.
I have played Shadow of Mordor. That's the one.
Yeah,
cool.
It was Ben's favorite game of that year and the next year.
Yeah.
I played it 2 years late.
Yeah.
And I loved. Oh,
yeah.
dude.
Hey, don't talk to me about playing games 2 years late, buddy. I'm still catching up on the SNES.
Sorry, keep going.
So
Shadow of War.
Yeah, the thing for me, right? This is a single player game, right? And okay, fair enough. They wanted to have some cosmetics behind, some microtransactions, whatever. Yeah. Okay, fine. The problem is you pay $70 in Australia or $80 in Australia, $60 in America for the game. And then you can just pay more money to skip the game. And in fact, they've increased the grindiness of the game
in order
to the point
encourage you to skip it.
Encouraging you to skip it. The loot box system, as opposed to just being like on the main menu where it's loot box, you have to visit the store and be exposed to all the advertisements to then click the loot box button and open your loot box.
Yeah.
And because it directly impacts gameplay as opposed to just being cosmetic upgrades or side grades or downgrades depending on how you feel about the skins. Because it actually it impacts your gameplay. I can see somebody coming to the game and hitting the part of the game where they really need the upgrades in order to actually progress.
Yeah.
And saying to themselves, right, I don't have time to deal with this grind. I'm going to buy 20 loot boxes. I'm going to get everything that I need, and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
And they open their loot boxes, and they get nothing. They get
like,
nothing that they need, and they're like,
snap.
All right, 20 more. Got to get it this
time. It's gambling. It just straight, like we said before, it's gambling.
So we all concede straight through it. It's gambling, 100%. Except they don't classify it as gambling because it falls into the same loophole that TCGs do. That is that you are never getting nothing.
Yes.
For your money.
Yeah.
You might be getting effectively nothing in that you get a bunch of duplicates or stuff that you're not interested in.
But it's still something.
Yeah.
yeah. So
So
I-
this is unfortunately this is not going to be solved by a regulatory.
oh, and
Regulatory
I don't see
means.
it getting better anytime soon. But every time we go over these points of being upset about something the publisher does or whatever, I always like to look at it from the other perspective and kind of just like crap on you guys a little bit in the sense to say,
Come at me, bro.
while I do agree with how this is a shitty thing that they're doing, I also like to look at it from their perspective to say they're making the games to make money.
Yeah.
They are going, people want to play these games, we'll make the games for them. It's expensive to make video games, especially these AAA big titles. And so they try to make as much money as they can.
Can I stop you there?
Mhm.
Right? They had no problem making enough money 10 years ago.
I'm not saying that they're not still making enough money,
Right.
but it's a business is my point. And any business that you ever come across is... Okay, not any business I ever come across. So the vast majority of businesses are always trying to make as much money as they can. And the introduction of microtransactions was something that just like, shit, yeah. Why not start using microtransactions as a means to make more money out of what we are already developing?
I do wonder if instead of microtransactions and season passes and all that stuff, if how much traction they would have gotten just by simply raising the price of games up front.
That's kind of where I was going to come in, right? So there's this whole big argument. Oh, we haven't raised the price of retail games in 10, 15 years. They've always been $60. You know, we haven't raised it with inflation. It's like, well, would you have accepted games at $100?
Well,
okay,
that's the thing.
Firstly,
though, right?
that's bullshit.
No,
because the standard price for games now is $80 to $90, and I distinctly remember paying way over $100 for SNES games back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the pricing has gone up from my experience anyway. Over time, it had gone up to like you may have paid 60 previously. Over a decade or so, it got to 100 or something
that whole
like that.
$60 business is an American thing. I don't remember that ever being the standard price point in Australia.
Fair enough. But I think, and again, tying back into the point that I was just making, is that rather than just going, let's just raise the cost and say you still have this content or you have more content, but it costs you a little bit more. They're like, we can actually make more money out of getting 1 million people to spend $2 rather than going, okay, it's now $100 and people going, I'm not going to spend $100 on this sort of thing. So from their perspective, it makes more viable business sense to go.
So when you say their perspective, you're talking about the publisher,
the people that are making money out of this,
not the developers. Because from the developers' perspective, they just want to make a game.
Yeah, the developers' perspective, they want to make something that people will enjoy. They're going, I'm getting paid this salary. I want someone to enjoy this piece of art that I have created. But for their game to go out to the masses, they need a publisher, and for the publisher, a lot of the times. And for
less so these days, but they do other things other than just putting the game to the masses these days.
Yeah, but for the publisher to go, you development studio, come to us, we'll sell your game for you. But we need you to put in this microtransaction. The developer like, shit, I don't really like this, but that's how I'm going to get my game out there.
And the other problem, I guess this kind of segues us into our last point, which I think we'll have to really quickly cover.
We'll cover it real quick.
Was a lot of the times these developers, they make a good franchise or a good game and they become really popular and they get, I guess, bought /
effectively,
sign contracts with a huge publisher, and that publisher then dictates
how the game goes.
No, not how the game goes. What they develop. Not that like
right.
So,
okay.
Yeah, so in the case of Visceral Games, right? So Visceral Games made the Dead Space series, I believe. They made it through EA.
Yeah.
And it's a wildly popular series. I haven't played it. I can't really speak to how good it is, but from what I've seen, it's wildly popular.
Yep.
And what happened was EA said, well, we've focus tested, and what people really, really want is another Battlefield game.
Yeah.
So we want you to work on this Battlefield game. Oh, and if it doesn't get the amount of sales that we expect, then we're not going to give you the money for it.
Right.
or like they made some sanction
clause.
Right?
Yeah.
So now you have developers who made this great new franchise, new thing. They took the risk and made it, and it was really popular and successful. Making some cookie cutter, shooter spin-off.
So the game that they made was Battlefield Hardline.
That's the one.
Which was honestly
mediocre Call
which
of
honestly
Duty.
I thought it was a bit of a ridiculous concept to begin with, in that it was trying to take the Battlefield formula, which, as you know, is typically been a wartime. Like sort of not. I'm not going to say simulation, but like inspired like
by actual wars.
By actual wars, and trying to apply it to cops and robbers.
Yeah.
with still with the same super serious, gritty, vaguely realistic aesthetic.
Yep.
It didn't go so well.
Yeah.
and the synopsis of it reads like an 11-year-old gamer's, it's like, oh, it's going to be like cops versus robbers, except it's also Battlefield, and they have like assault rifles and stuff, and they all
and APCs
tanks, and they wear camo everywhere, and it's nice. So you can tell like they focus tested that age group and went, hey, this is what they want, and you better make this, because you're not making us enough money on your Dead Space.
Well,
series.
they had unrealistic expectations of Dead Space.
So
I need to come clean and say that I haven't played the series either, but it was a sci-fi horror series, which, whilst popular, don't tend to be like super mainstream.
They're not the AAA sellers.
They have an audience, but that audience is not the same audience as, say, the people that buy Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
when it didn't hit their incredibly lofty goals, they
disbanded Visceral Games.
They put them on something else, and then when that didn't work out, they just shut the whole thing down.
Yeah, they quote unquote transferred resources to different games and departments.
Yeah.
And basically shuttered Visceral Games.
That's an incredibly heartless way of saying that we broke up the band and sent it to the four
corners of the
flung it to the floor corners of the world. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So very quickly, I just remembered a meme that I saw with regards to microtransactions.
Look at you memer.
Love the memes. It was just like, it was in the image. It was just like, try to spot when what is it, Rockstar came across microtransactions. So it was just like
GTA Vice City.
It was like 2008 GTA
San Andreas or
something. The next GTA, Red Dead Redemption, next GTA, and then it's just like 2012 or 13 GTA 5. Nothing. Nothing after
but again,
that.
And again,
everything since then has just been DLC for GTA 5.
DLC
but
for GTA 5. And
having said that, that's kind of the direction they were going, right? Like the GTA series itself was always an open world sort of shooter, and they're like, well, like shooter, like open world, run around, do whatever the hell you want. And GTA 5, like their whole selling point for that was, we're gonna do that, but like kind of like an MMO. Yeah. All right. And they did. They did it as an MMO.
They've effectively done that. And the way they keep making money out of it, microtransactions.
And that's kind of where I kind of look at games like NBA 2K18, and I'm turning around going, why do I have to spend $100 on this every year
to begin with?
To then spend more money on microtransactions.
So
I would rather have an NBA game.
I think we've just hit on what actually makes us turn our noses up at these sort of practices so much. It's not that it's an unacceptable business model. It's just that when you tack it onto something that is already a full price game, it's just too much. Yeah. It seems like they're trying to have their cake and eat it.
So here's what I'm thinking, right?
Like, let's make as much money.
And I mean, it's the Call of Duty problem again as well, right? So they release yearly games, like some companies release yearly games, like the NBA series and stuff, and they're introducing microtransactions in a way that it's like, oh, well, we want to continue to support this game. But then in a year's time, they're just going to bring out NBA 2K19. And then NBA 2K20. It's like they don't have any interest in doing the GTA 5 thing, doing the Overwatch thing, doing the Team Fortress 2 thing, supporting the game.
So in that sense, it's sort of like...
That's where it's shitty.
Yeah, like, own up to it. Man up. It's sort of like, if you're going to do... If you want people to stump up the money for microtransactions, commit to a game, keep it up to date, and give them a reason to.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, like, again, to take the side of the bad guys, They see this as a money-making venture. They're going, oh, I'm going to make FIFA every year. People are buying FIFA every year. Idiots. We're just re-releasing the same thing year after year. But people get onto it.
You like playing devil's advocate, don't you?
Yeah, I do. No. But they keep playing it. They keep playing it, and they're just like, sweet, this is working. We'll keep doing it year after year after year after year. And people are still buying it. And now they're just like, let's introduce microtransaction. People are buying it. Shit, yeah. Okay, let's keep doing it.
In my opinion, that's a step too far, and people should stop buying it. Don't buy it.
And on that bombshell, I think that's a good, perfect time to end this podcast.
We have been going for quite some time.
Long time.
It has been a fantastic podcast. I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I was half asleep when I started. I'm fully awake now. Thank you, guys.
You get time to go home and school some noobs at Overwatch, I guess.
Overwatch? Team Fortress is out tonight.
Man.
Let's go.
Big update.
Bang, bang, bang. It's out.
I have to update, remember? I have worse internet than Kenya at home.
That's right.
Anyway, we'll wrap this up here. For those of you that have listened to this point, thank you very much. We love you.
We love you so
Carry
much.
on watching. Check out some of our other stuff on YouTube. Please share it out with your friends and family and anyone else that you think will be interested in this.
And again, join us on Discord. We're always chatting.
Absolutely.
We're always looking for people to play games with. And to our people that are in Discord, thank you for joining us. It's been great having conversations with you guys. Again, if you have any suggestions for upcoming topics, upcoming games that you want us to play,
or even just questions in general,
or if you're just looking for people to game with, I mean, we're pretty chill. So come game with us.
All right, cool. We'll wrap it up there. Thanks a lot, guys.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.